Big news in the EV world this week. A lot to get through, so let's burn through it real fast. I'm Brian. Welcome to my Tesla weekend. How is everybody? How are you doing? Let me know if you can hear me in the chat. This is the full version, which goes out on Friday on the second channel. You guys know that because you're here, or maybe it's the condensed version you're watching over the weekend. It's whichever version it says on the screen. And this week's episode is brought to you by my patrons. If you're not sure if your billing info is up to date, please check it, because there's a bunch of people whose payments didn't go through. So great. Oh, no mic. No mic. No mic in the chat. You got me, man. You got me. Norway is reconsidering electric car privileges. So Norway wanted to go real aggressive with EVs, and one good way to do that was to reduce taxes, to let them in the carpool lane, to give them all sorts of preferential treatment. But the problem is, everybody's got them now. The mission succeeded. Yeah. The mission succeeded, so what do you do then? Start backing off a little bit. I don't think this is a problem. Do you? Warren Buffett-backed electric car maker shrugs off China's lockdowns. Yeah, BYD is not exactly in Shanghai, where most of the shutdowns are taking place, so BYD had a very strong month, and BYD is growing like crazy. Although, I would point out that they're doing a lot of hybrids. And to me, a hybrid is not just half gas, half electric, but a half measure overall. Not a fan, but it is a step in the right direction. And if they were to go straight electric, they wouldn't have enough batteries to do the kind of units they're doing. And for a lot of folks in China, charging at home is not quite an option yet, because there's a lot of apartments and it's difficult. Global plug-in electric car sales increased 60% in March. It's great. Battery electrics up 81% year over year. Plug-ins up 227,000 units, 19% year over year. So up 60% generally year over year. 15% market share. Love to see it. Love to see it. Good article inside EVs. In March, the Model Y set another monthly sales record for an electric car. 92,000 units. And that's with, Austin and Berlin just coming online. When Elon said that the Model Y could be the world's best-selling car, he wasn't kidding. And the demand remains very strong. And there will be demand levers to pull in the future, including lowering the price. But remember, Sandy Munro said the Model Y costs less to build than the Model 3, but it sells for more. This is a margin-generating machine. Project Ronin is Fisker's new four-door electric convertible. It's a render, but it's a very pretty render. Fisker has always stuck with a design-heavy approach in terms of the looks of it doing a lot of the heavy lifting. I'm not sure I have a lot of confidence in Henrik Fisker as a CEO or as a manufacturer, but why not? Why not? Volkswagen sells out of electric cars in Europe and the US. World's second largest electric vehicle manufacturer hit by supply chain bottlenecks, because of course they are. That's no discredit to them. That's to be expected, especially right now. But even if the supply chain was doing just fine, batteries are still waiting to catch up. I've received a number of requests to interview someone who is an expert in mining, and I am reaching out to do that. Yeah. So this is great. We know Tesla is mostly sold out. Volkswagen is as well. This is good news for consumers, really. I mean, it'd be better news if they were just available, but they're not. We got some work to do. Tesla says it will turn Shanghai into the world's largest vehicle export hub with new factory. Now, we don't know where, but somewhere around here, there will be a new plot of land with a new Tesla factory with the same nameplate capacity as this beast. This apparently only has a capacity of 450,000 units. We know that's not true. It's vastly higher, probably over 1 million, probably well over 1 million. But where will the new factory go? Over here, where the CATL factory is being built? Maybe. Maybe over here? Maybe over here. My speculation is I'd love to see this land in use for it, but we'll see. Kind of. Doesn't matter. The Moss Landing Megapack is up. Probably gotta mute this, huh? Okay, so this is huge. This is 20 times bigger than the one that they just put in Alaska. This is not just very good for the grid. It's good for Tesla. And it's good for the utility because it will be a money printing machine. These are so much cheaper to operate than peaker plants. Gas peaker plants are expensive, and although they're very quick to come online, they're nowhere near as quick as this. The critical difference is that peaking plants actually generate power, while this just stores it, arbitrages it, buys it when it's cheap, puts it back on the grid when it's in higher demand, and the supply is limited. Auto sales dropped 17% in April. This chart is what I wanted to look at. Boy, it's kind of ugly. Let's see if I can make it a little better. Does that improve it? Doesn't change a thing. So Ford down 15%. I guess that'd be a 1 year change of down 10%. Lincoln down 11%. Honda and Acura down. Kind of everybody's down. Hyundai Genesis is up by 2,000 units. How can you keep a whole brand with such low production? It's very surprising to me. But Hyundai overall, down. A lot of folks just plain down. The supply chain constraints are very real and not good. Who is this said, Tesla is about vertical integration. They won't spread out Shanghai. They'll go up. Well, that's what they did with everything after phase 1. But there's a limit to how far you can go up. And they're running out of land there. And it sounds like, from the Reuters article, that they have secured land, or at least permission to buy land, to move forward with the planning of an additional factory there. It said it will also build Models 3 and Y, but didn't specify if it would only build Models 3 and Y. Nikola reported first quarter 2022 results. Not much exciting, but it is good news. The Tray entered production. They've received more orders. Big deal if you've got trucks. If you can make trucks, you're going to sell trucks. They shipped 11 saleable production units, which is a bit misleading because they also had test vehicles out with Anheuser-Busch. And they've done their fundraising. That was critical. They were going to run out of money without fundraising, and the rate's a little high. It's 8% interest, or 11% if paid in actual stock. But 11% premium with just stock would be great because it's not cash. So it's happening. These trucks are very expensive, but if people are buying them, the price is right. The only question is, how long can they keep losing money? And for now, at least, the answer is longer. They can survive longer. So that's good. Get these trucks on the road. It's happening. Tesla adds swiveling screen to the yoke-equipped Model S. It just swivels. It just tilts a little side to side. Not very exciting. It is now confirmed, Tesla has confirmed that is a thing that they do. Damaged 22 Lucid Air Dream Edition pops up on Copart with a pretty significant amount of damage right here. Apparently this means it's totaled, which wouldn't surprise me. It's quite a bit of damage. Well, maybe not totaled, but it's here. They're not fixing it. You can fix it. You can buy it. And you can get it for the low, low price of, and I'm not even joking, full price. Should go for around $169,000 in its current state, which is the MSRP. But it's the first one. You're going to pay, yeah. If you want to get one in good shape, it's going to be 50 grand more than that. Yeah, I think the right shop could absolutely fix this for under 50 grand. Would you want to? I think this will be bought by another manufacturer for reverse engineering. I think Sandy would love to get this. I don't think he'd pay $169 though. Mustang Mach-E reached a new record in April. So I've seen more and more of these on the road. Ford and Lincoln was down 10.5%, but Mach-E sales are up. They sold 3,800 in the month. 2.5 days of Tesla production. But that's almost double a year ago. And I don't fault them. This is a fine trend, I suppose. Once they have the batteries, once the parts supply constraint is under control a little bit, they'll be able to get some margin out of these and do well. The big news to me was that the Ford E-Transit van sold 1,500, which is great. There was a comment I saw on, Twitter, someone saying, well, why don't they just make the Transit van as a passenger van? People would buy that. And the answer, as far as I can tell, is the range on the Transit van is like 100 miles, which can work for many last mile delivery services or around town, contractors. But for a customer planning to use it as a passenger vehicle, 100 miles is probably not going to do the trick. Shock. A used GMC Hummer just sold for $260,420. Nice. Is it a surprise? They're very hard to get your hands on. List is $112. Even that you're not going to get. The dealer markup is going to eat you alive on that. It's fun. It's interesting. It's based on how rare they are. Yeah, and calling it used with 800 miles on the odometer, I don't think that's quite accurate. April, that one in April with 800 miles sold for $275. And a second has been auctioned for nearly as much. Yeah. Oh, the 85-mile example went for $260. Interesting. Cars and Bids, Doug DeMuro's website. I like Doug. He's a very fun guy. EV firm Atlas plans U.S. stock market listing amid IPO drought. I don't know if I'd call it a drought. We're drowning in IPOs. I don't think we're thirsty for more. They want to get into the big rig truck space. Good. It's a crowded market, and it's going to be tough. But if you can get some investors and actually make a product that actually works, good. Go for it. Mary Barra, the leader in EVs, she led. It matters. We plan to be selling more EVs in this country than anyone else, including Tesla. Do you? Because I plan to be richer than Elon. Yeah. But my plan is about as likely as hers. And, she'll be gone before any of these targets come to pass. It's, as Lars from Best in Tesla would say, it's Mary embarrassing. CATL shares drop after higher costs cut into first quarter profits. I wouldn't read much into this. CATL is doing great work. They're keeping their margins narrow to increase their market share. And they had some big expenses. But it just goes to show not everything is golden all the time. If you don't see the hypocrisy, you are the hypocrisy. Open your eyes. So CNET had said Tesla's new steering yoke isn't retro, it's a safety risk. But then they said Lexus' new steering yoke is weird but kind of wonderful. So what's the difference? Is it bias? Is it some inherent bias they have against Tesla? Or all for Lexus? My take is that no, they're different. This is just a yoke put onto a regular rack, while this is drive-by-wire. The key to a successful yoke is that you don't have to turn it hand over hand, but that you'll go no more than 180 degrees either way, and this maxes at 150, so you can drive it without taking your hands off, without taking both hands off the wheel, really. Whereas with the Tesla, you have to roll it and roll it and roll it. As a personal note, I do think the shape of this is cooler, but what a convoluted mess for production in terms of stitching and all that. That's a lot of different pieces of leather, but who cares? A couple $100 added at most to a car that's already quite expensive and quite premium. But again, the big difference is that you can actually drive it without having to focus on it. And this is based on the Toyota. I think it's on the same platform as the Toyota. It says that here somewhere, unless I lost it. But yeah, it's built on the same platform as the Toyota BuzzForks. You know the one, right? The BuzzForks? That's what it's called, right? I don't know how you pronounce BZ4X. I'm pretty sure it's BuzzForks. Yeah. Quick thanks to my Patreons who get early access, bonus content, all that good stuff. Keep the channel running, get some extras, get to help me determine the future of the channel. So let's get into the Q&A, shall we? I've left enough time. I burnt through the news nice and quick. Let's have us a little chat. I'm going to put on some B-roll so you got something pretty to look at while we talk. Let's see here. Yeah. Quick hello to everyone. Greenpad, Jeff, Hockey Day, Tech Fixer. Hello, everybody. I'm so glad you're all here. Good day from the D shift at Gigafactory 1, Nevada. Made it live this week. I'm glad you're here. Very exciting stuff at Giga Nevada. I've been there. I told you that, I think, last week. Got to see the building from very far away. It's big. It's a big place. Zero confidence. Paul says zero confidence in Henrik Fisker. I also have extremely limited confidence. Greenpad wants to know predictions for the announced robotaxi model, small two-seater, minibus. Macrobus. Macrobus is my guess. Something like what we saw in the early boring tunnel previews. Something that could be used as a transit van for Tesla, or just reskinned as a robotaxi for the tunnels. That's my guess. I think it'll be one model that can be used in a bunch of things. Fisker reminds of Ewan McGregor's character from The Island. Just got rich off sketching renders of fancy cars, nothing else. And similarly, as I understand, they both have clones that they use for spare body parts. Tony Seba predicted the gap between demand dropping for ICE while ramping for EVs. For those who don't know who Tony Seba is, he is a technology, I would just call him a futurist. And he made a lot of very bold but evidence-based assumptions years ago, and he got to watch them all come true. He still says he's not a time traveler. We'll see. We'll see when the time cops show up. You know how it is. Still got some time. Get them questions in. The sky is, yeah. Who is this is saying, building up Shanghai makes sense because the sky is the literal limit. Vertical costs money. Building a factory on top of a factory is more expensive than building two factories side by side. The only time it makes sense is when you can use that vertical space to cut down on, linear space to streamline the actual production. But for building a second factory on top of a first factory, just buy the land. And by buy, I mean, in the case of Shanghai, lease it for 99 years, whatever it is. No one owns land in China apart from the government. I'm starting to see Teslas everywhere. To which Who Is This says, me too, everywhere except my driveway. I have also, never seen one in my driveway. Can't wait to get my swivelly Model X. That's right, Jeff, you do have a reservation. I forgot about that. I hope your current one is working fine again. Greenpad asks, are lithium miners ramping too? And it appears the answer is no, not yet. And the problem with that is it takes time to ramp. So it looks like we're going to be supply constrained for an unacceptably long time. And they're, of course, worried if they could predict the price 5-10 years out, they'd immediately begin ramping, but they can't. So they need someone to come in and guarantee a floor price, which maybe Ford or Volkswagen can do. But I think they're holding off to see how much lower it's going to go. It's a vicious cycle. Sandy should get it to tear down the Lucid Air. I think it's too expensive to tear down. I think he's very curious to see what's in it, but not $170,000 curious. We have a Mach-E at work with the worst paint color choice. Which one is that? But the dude loves it. The new EV bill, did it pass or die? I haven't seen any new bill. It was part of the big Build Back Better bill, which died. That's not to say we couldn't see another one, but right now there is nothing on the horizon that would extend EV credits beyond the current $7,500, which remains available to everyone apart from buyers of Tesla and General Motors. Greenpad affirmed that. It's part of Build Back Better, which is on hold. There is some money in the infrastructure bill for building out charging infrastructure, which will help, but barely. What we need is a green Manhattan project, and we're not getting it because Manhattan projects are difficult to sell apart from wartime. LG says, I will never suffer dealer markup again. Yeah. Who Is This says, better an IPO than a reverse merger, one of those SPACs. A IPO has much stricter requirements about the history and health of the company financially than a SPAC. Tech Fixer says, Mary is delusional. No, she's not. She's lying. She's lying because even her targets don't get them ahead of Tesla. They get them to where Tesla is today in 5 years, and they get them to where Tesla will be in 5 years in 10 or 20. Sad about Mary. Really hope her golden parachute works. You got to look it up, Jeff. Mary's been selling all along. She's never not been selling. Mary did it. Case closed. Daniel says, I heard of someone who didn't have pin to drive enabled and their car was stolen. Yeah, I read a story about that maybe within the last year where someone was asleep inside and close enough for their phone to have the car unlocked, and someone just hopped in and drove away. Climate change is wartime, but I see your point. You and I may believe that. Many people do not. Many people, even within the Tesla community, are still kind of on the fence about man-made climate change. So, I don't know. I can tell you that that is not helpful in terms of advancing green initiatives. Jeff has his Model X delivery set for July. Oh, that's coming up. That's coming up. Building cars using elevators. Yes, Hockey Day. There's great footage out of Berlin and Shanghai, and there might be not as much out of Texas yet, but Berlin and Shanghai have great footage showing just how vertical it all is. They paint them, they go up in the rafters to let the paint harden, they pull them down as needed. It's great, and they slap them together vertically. Oh, yes, building a factory under a factory. Well, that's why we got the boring. Any video on the new impact report? I'm going to read it later, but I'm always interested in hearing your take on things. I only saw that earlier today. I have not had a chance to dig into it, but it looks interesting. It looks interesting. So we got a couple minutes left. Nukes don't help climate change either. If you kick up enough dust into the atmosphere, it creates a nuclear winter. You know, volcanoes have a global cooling effect on account of all the particulates they eject. I'm not an advocate for volcano or nuclear weapon-based climate change solutions. I'm just saying that it's a double-edged bomb. Yeah, pretty sure that's right. 144 pages. We'll read it soon. Thank you, Digital Blade Canada. Yeah, it looks exciting. I only saw a few pages of it that was shared by, I don't remember, maybe Nitso. Somebody shared it, and it was interesting. Okay, well, we've got 2.5 minutes to go. We did good today. Yeah, I was really stressed. I didn't have to. I mean, I chose to take my kids to pick up their glasses, and the optometrist is not in our county. So it's an hour away, and there was a massive wreck on the highway that shut it down. The DOT truck, Department of Transportation truck, had the reader board said, wreck ahead, prepare to stop. So I got on the nav, and it said, get off the freeway. So that added over an hour to the drive, which was, so painful. But I made it back in time, which is why it's important to prepare early in the day. Yeah, who is this says, I'll wait for the movie. Yeah, the movie of the 144-page impact report is going to be out on Quibi as a 312-part series. It's going to be great. Streaming services today, man, I tell you, they would make everything. Aw, well, I'm glad you're here, Daniel. Late or not. Yeah, let's start blaming who is this for the crash. Why not? Why not, Matt? That's a good idea. Matt, we should still touch base about the 10Q because there's some interesting stuff there. And I appreciated what you shared with me. I think that's it, you guys. Oh, fun one today. Fun one. Yeah. So, what did I miss or misunderstand? If you're catching this on the replay, go ahead and leave me a message below. What did I miss or misunderstand? Yeah, tell me. If you haven't subscribed on the second channel, pretty please do that. It would be a wonderful help. I'm over halfway to the point where I can get monetized, which would be great. Or subscribe on the first channel, or don't. I'm just glad you're here. And I am talking to you because you are here, because otherwise you wouldn't hear this. So stay tuned, stay juicy, and I cannot wait to hear from you clever robots.